guys for coming and playing with us. You're not having fun with what you're doing. It changes the dynamic completely. So Vicky gave a little bit of a precursor to this, but we are Twiggs Co. Basically what we do, our impetus of how we started is I've had a really interesting opportunity to sit in the boardrooms of very large companies across the world, and I've noticed a lot of really interesting things. It's a very fragmented world. We have this competitive, scorched earth kind of mindset, and sustainability just kind of makes sense. A triple bottom line approach gives you a deeper connection and a conversation with your stakeholders. And your stakeholders are the people who actually influence. They're the people and things who actually influence and who are actually influenced by your business. Otherwise known as your customers, your employees, your suppliers. And so I've spent my life learning about basically just how the world works in business. And I noticed that companies who did sustainable things lasted longer. They did better business. They had a better brand to them. Brand is that feeling that you have after you leave a conversation with someone, after you leave an interaction with a company. That's your brand, truly. I looked into sustainability consulting as a whole, and what I noticed was a lot of fighting. People were forgetting the purpose of the exercise, which is to move the business and to move the world into a better, more sustainable place. And they were fighting ideologically. So I looked out in the world and I saw a bunch of tree huggers fighting ideologically with a bunch of capitalists, and a bunch of capitalists fighting ideologically with a bunch of tree huggers. I'm like, guys, we're trying to accomplish the same thing. What is this? But it's all that marketing jargon. So then, Twiggs Co is born. Basically, we are looking for companies that are experiencing the pains of high turnover, low engagement, and a poorly defined developmental ladder. If you give people a structure in which to grow, they will grow. And as it turns out, we are also looking for companies who want to make more money, because all of these have a huge impact on profitability. So then what we do is we leverage a strategic corporate social responsibility program. We take a triple bottom line approach, we wrap it in this very nice little single bottom line package, and then everybody lives happy. So this basically turns into a business model. So one of our pillars is being radically transparent. So this is our business model. We are looking at stakeholders, because my speaker notes are not showing up on my screens. We look at stakeholders, because like I said, those are the people who are actually going to impact your business. They're the people who are actually impacted by it. They're the environment. Because this environment and the planet is often left out of the stakeholder conversation, but if you are Pepsi or Coca-Cola, one of your main stakeholders is water quality, because it costs a lot to filter that. We look at waste, reuse, and diversion. This matters because can you imagine a world where you don't have to worry about the price and cost of goods sold? Because we have a completely built out life cycle stage. You know where your stuff is coming from. You don't have to worry about wars somewhere. You don't have to worry about shortages, because your company is built on a circular model. There's a lot of room for innovation and invention here, which is, oh, that's so exciting. And then one of the best ways to actually be in touch with your stakeholders is through community engagement. Do you want to know the state of your environment? You start looking at what are the health rates of children and old people. They are the most susceptible to changes in your environment. So if you are, what was the Suncor? So if you're Suncor, who sponsored the Sustainable Denver Summit, the next day one of their machines malfunctioned and covered Commerce City in something. So what they did is they paid for car washes. But if they had an actual strategically implemented corporate social responsibility program, they had identified their stakeholders and they addressed them through community engagement, they could have taken that and turned it from a greenwash PR thing to actually making change and actually building a brand that people aren't protesting on a regular basis. So the way that we operate is we take companies and we throw them through these modalities. We facilitate a conversation through these modalities. So it's marketing jargon, right? So from a stakeholder-first perspective, we address community engagement as it relates to your business. If you're a construction company, it's cool that you're doing river cleanups, but wouldn't it make more sense to do something with the ban the box movement, because that is a potential workforce for you. And trades right now are hurting. They don't have a workforce. But they also know about this corporate social responsibility thing, so they're doing their cleanups. What is that doing for you? Why can't you, this whole idea of doing well and benefiting from this is, you can do good in the community and you can have it benefit your bottom line. I'm giving you permission right now. I promise it is okay. So we go through community engagement. Of course, with consulting, we're digging your business. There's a corporate coaching package. Jeff Kinsey is phenomenal at corporate coaching. And then this is what we're here to talk about today, is we have strategic referral partners and partnerships built out with key people, not just in this room, but also in our community, because we can't do it all. I'm really good at organization design. Vicki is one of the best relationship architects I've ever met. But neither of us are, as you experienced earlier, too much on the number side of things. So we have a strategic partnership with Connor Merrigan. He does all the number stuff. We have a strategic partnership with Jeff Pope. He is a public benefit corporation lawyer that actually does good. They do exist, we found them. So our purpose here today is to start redefining the competitive mindset. This scorched earth mentality is not the way to go forward. Don't worry, the earth is already burned. Ask Australia, ask California, ask Chile, ask Brazil. Literally burned. You can't even make this shit up. We're going to learn who's in the room, because I've had the absolute pleasure of having one-on-one conversations with a lot of you, and dear God, the brilliance in this room alone. If we wanted to take over the world together, we absolutely could, but we have to use strategic partnerships, write each other a proposal, something. So we're here to figure out who's in the room, figure out how can we fit together, where are our services complementary, and then define the next steps for radical collaboration. All right. What is this radical collaboration work that we keep talking about? Radical collaboration goes a step farther. So this is what you get when you take the competitive mindset and you wash it with an abundance mindset. So competition, you have healthy competition, then you have unhealthy competition. And our business world has been wrecked with unhealthy competition thus far. So this is a scorched earth. If I have it, you don't have it. We can't both succeed. There can only be one winner. Very scarcity. You're really not going to get very far. I mean, there are proverbs from across the world, across the centuries about if you want to go far, you can go by yourself. But if you want to really make change, or if you want to go fast, you go by yourself. But if you really want to make change, then you go together. If you really want to make it far, then you go together. We are herd animals. How we're built, this competitive mindset goes completely, this atrocious scorched earth competitive mindset goes against our base wiring as just meat sacks. So talking about this different type of competition, healthy, and we have this scorched earth, which is actually, I come out of agriculture, and it's really interesting when you start thinking about terms literally. So one of the things that we used to do, I was raised on a horse ranch, one of the things that we used to do is we would burn our hay fields. And then the harvest after that would be the richest and the thickest and the greenest and the most beautiful grass and the most beautiful hay you've ever seen. But to get there, we had to burn everything, which is cool because someone else already did that much of the work for us because it's hot and annoying and ashy. So it's cool. I mean, the old capitalistic white man already done that for us. So we have this opportunity to really dig into this fertile ground that they've created for us, this fertile ground of opportunity to come together. The scorched earth, this competitive mindset of you can have and I don't, have basically left us with this very, it's actually a beautiful graph. I have to thank someone who's not in this room. What the system that we have set up, it's very narrow-sighted because of the people that it was set up for. And what happens is we have a bunch of people over here who have the most need. They tend to have the least access to services. And over here we have people with less need and they have the most access to services. And this just doesn't make sense. It's not built on who actually lives in this economy that we can serve. Also, if you really break it down, it looks an awful lot like this thing. This pyramid structure, this hierarchical thing that we've got going on. This is what our economy looks like if you break it down into a basic geometric shape kind of thing. Those at the top have access to a lot, those at the bottom don't necessarily have access to a lot. This is incredibly short-sighted. It's exclusionary, it's static, it's non-responsive. And okay, if you look at the lens through if you look at the world through the lens of how am I going to control the world, basically, this doesn't work because you've excluded the many for the amusement of the few, and we have mass communication. This doesn't work. We now see things. We can talk to people completely across the world in seconds. And also, it's a small piece of the entire picture. I was actually really happy that this fit out well geometrically. So if you look at it, the whole picture is much more of this diamond thing. We've been addressing a single facet of the entire diamond of everything that we have to work with, everything that we have to do, all of the opportunity that exists. We've only been addressing the tiniest bit of it. So, one of the reasons why, if you take into consideration who this world's currently built for, it's really overwhelming. You have to multitask. You have to have your vision that's huge. You have to be able to see how a lot of intricacies come through. And this is where the system of overwhelm happens. And when overwhelm happens, you kind of start getting popped out of the system. I highly recommend going and talking to Lauren Rivera at the back of the room. She's phenomenal at mapping this out. But it's this picture of overwhelm, where there are too many variables, and so we just shut down. Think of Trump's marketing campaign. His policy, it's overloading, and so it gets people to disengage, which is the whole point of why we're doing this, because we need to get people to engage in the huge issue. And we need to break down this much larger picture, because in reality, it's not this, it's actually this. Because they're all moving. And it's actually more complicated than this, because a lot of these pieces are rearranging. And it actually is much bigger than this, because we have an entire world with cultures and all of these things. But this is the beauty of radical collaboration, is because radical collaboration, the whole big idea behind Twiggs Co, behind yes, we can actually make change in the world, and we can do this together, is that we have in this room and outside this room and in Denver and Colorado, in the world, we have these people who are addressing facets of this diamond. And so we have the opportunity to come together, start defining these relationships, using some people management, using some project management, using stuff that has been proven to work. And let's come together and apply that to the CSR field, the corporate social responsibility field, to our respective fields in which we operate. If we can take this approach, we can build much better businesses, much stronger, and they will last longer, and in the end, make more money. Actually, in the short term, in the medium term, in the long term, make more money. Because we all address different facets of the same diamond. And we get to work together. And so I'm not a numbers expert, but Connor is. And so he gets to leverage my knowledge, I get to leverage his knowledge. Now I don't like people all the time, but Vicky does. So I get to leverage that. And she can make friends out of every room. Well, I don't have to be the only one. Like, you guys get to leverage us too. And you guys get to leverage each other. And then together, you get to use the Bob mentality for good. Why not take over the world? What could go wrong? And so really, when people know what you're up to, we can help you out. And so it's part of this network building. It's part of this, let's put teeth into what radical collaboration is. So now, in the words of Prince, let's get radical.